Welcome back to UFC Reddit, where we look at the Reddit forum for r/UFC. UFC Shanghai has just concluded recently. Look, I know there's some absolute highlights and some absolute gutting moments. Lonnie Kavanagh took an L to Charles Johnson. I like to remind people that the chair's still broken, and the fact that Charles Johnson beat Joshua Van just last year, and look where he is. Lonnie Kavanagh will bounce back and look better than ever on his return. Every mistake is an area to learn. Johnny Walker got the win. I had my money on round one, Zhang Ming Yang. I thought he was going to get the knockout early, but a very good performance from Johnny Walker. I mean, he did shoot a takedown in the first 3 seconds and end up on his back. How Johnny Walker of him. Anyway, let's get straight into it. Let's check out UFC Reddit, see what's going on today. We start off with 5 hours ago, Tracy Cortez not sorry for Brian Ortega. If you don't know, Tracy Cortez and Brian Ortega used to date. Not so much anymore. She said, I don't feel sorry for nobody grown and capable. Y'all swear things be holding you back, but it really be you stuck in your ways and won't make the necessary changes to be better. It ain't the devil. It ain't the city you in. It's not the people around you. It's you. Sorry, not sorry. I don't know what she's on about, if I'm perfectly honest. What I do know is that I don't think it ended on the greatest of terms. Brian Ortega had a really, really lackluster performance against Aljamain Sterling. If I'm honest, it wasn't a good watch. You know, he just got his head jabbed off. You got outstruck by Aljamain Sterling. That's all I need to say about that. Moving on. Look what Jubbly has revolutionized. I'm guessing this is referring to Ansu Jubbly, who's recently been cut from the UFC. One of two Indian fighters. This is better than an average Jubbly performance. If I'm being honest, this is better than a Jubbly performance. Kill everybody, no, hug everybody. Yeah, I know what you mean. I do get what you're saying, but it's mixed martial arts at the end of the day. He did kill him. He dominated him at the end of the day. Incredible post, 14k upvotes. Yeah, I'll give it an upvote. Why not? Never done that before. I've only done it once. Yeah, that'll do it. I'm not gonna lie. Johnny Walker's ground and pound was wild. Like, it was the wildest thing I have ever seen. It was just wailing at him. But he somehow got the win. I'm so happy for Johnny Walker. UFC Brazilians in the UFC are now 1-10 in UFC main events this year. I think they were like 0-10. Sorry, and Johnny Walker's now made it 1-10. So fair play to him. Fair play to Johnny Walker for getting the W. I'm happy for him, if I'm being perfectly honest. Let's go. Yeah, that. This is so Johnny Walker, though, isn't it? Like, everything Johnny Walker does is wrong. Everything Johnny Walker does is just backwards. But he somehow does stuff like this. I can't show that. That's enough. That's enough. The fact that Johnny Walker, like, is just Johnny Walker in a nutshell, isn't it? You can't hate on Johnny Walker. What I'm gonna do is actually, can I filter new? Here we go. Let's filter by new. This isn't fight energy. This is predator energy. We do like a bit of fan footage. We can show fan footage over here. To be fair, if I was stood across the cage from Khamzat Chimaev, Pooh would come out. Pooh would definitely be coming out. Is it true that Reyes vs. Smith was postponed to UFC 10 because John Jones didn't want them at the same press conference as him? Do you know what? This wouldn't surprise me. Like, is this true? 3 comments. Is this thing I just made up right now randomly true? I just made it up and you guys need to confirm it. That's actually quite funny. However, this makes so much sense. It wouldn't surprise me, you know. Dominic Reyes beat John Jones. So, need I say any more? Khabib was an absolute monster in the cage. Look, if you haven't seen this clip before, I can show this because it's YouTube. This is fan footage, not anything else, so I'm allowed to show this, okay? The way he spoke to opponents, the Conor McGregor one being the coldest one, where he's pounding on him. He's like, you want to talk? Let's talk now. Yeah, if someone was, if I ran my mouth that much, just to the point where the guy's beating on me and then saying let's talk, I'd be like, yeah, do you know what? Fair. I'd be like, get off, you win. You're the bigger man. You're a bigger man than me. I'm pathetic, I know. Get off me, please. Before someone calls, oh my god, I can't speak. Before some of you guys call me a CCP bot, don't know what that is, or a bootlicker, or a casual, let's just be honest, Zhang Bingyang is not a fraud compared to these two. Kaya Sakura and Bo Nickel. I think calling Bo Nickel a fraud is a bit too soon. At the end of the day, he only lost one fight. He lost one fight to Reina de Ridder, who's only ever lost 2 fights in his career. You can't call him a fraud off the back of that. Like, come on, give the guy a chance. I'm saying that, but then I'm gonna say this about Kaya Sakura. Kaya Sakura, I said in my last video, or the video before, he is not cut for the UFC. He's not cut for a grappling heavy division. Not division, but he's not ready for a company that has grappling, full stop. I think Kaya Sakura would struggle in the PFL, and I think Kaya Sakura would... No, that's not true. I was going to say Kaya Sakura would struggle in Cage Warriors, but I don't think that's true. I feel like stylistically there are some matchups that Kaya Sakura would struggle with in Cage Warriors, but that's neither here nor there. Kaya Sakura apparently has requested to return to Ryzen. I hope that's not true, because for me that's a sign of weakness. It's a sign of you've given up. You know, the UFC is where every MMA fighter wants to be in the UFC. They want to work for the UFC at one stage in their career or another. And to go 0-2 and then dip, brother, you can't do that. You can't pull up to the UFC as like the next big thing, fight the champion, lose. Okay, fair enough. Yes, you lost to Tim Elliott, and if you're losing to Tim Elliott, you ain't beating anybody else in the top 15. Like, not anytime soon anyway. Kaya Sakura needs like a solid 12 to 18 months to just... the guy knows how to strike. The guy can throw a punch. The guy can throw a wicked kick. You just need to disappear for like 18 months and just focus on wrestling. That is it. You don't even have to be good at takedowns. You just have to be better in the clinch. You have to have better submission defense. And you have to have much, much, much better takedown defense. If he just had solid takedown defense and good submission defense, he'd be fine. He'd win it. He would have beat Tim Elliott if he had them. He came out in that second round scared because he didn't want to get taken down. That's all I'm saying on the matter. I've already spoken about it once before. It's wild, clearly illegal, and it's only 2 points for breaking Crosby's face. This is actually a hard one to comment on because it was an illegal knee, and because Crosby didn't play on it as much as he could have done, the fight continued and Crosby got knocked out after literally having his face broken. When you go back to Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling 1, where Petr Yan done a very similar thing, Aljo, it weren't even as bad. Like, it was bad, but it weren't anywhere near as bad as this. But because Aljamain played on it, heavily played on it, he got the win in his favour. This should have been a disqualification and either a no contest because it was so early in the round, or a Crosby win. In my opinion, it should have been a no contest. Just taking 2 points off this. That's funny. This was ridiculous. This shouldn't have happened. Johnny Walker shaves his mustache Dagestani style ahead of his fight. Yeah, I saw this. I didn't see this video. I saw it when he walked out. I was like, has he shaved his tash like his brother? And he literally has shaved off his tash. He's gone full on Dagestani, but that would explain the takedown in the first 3 seconds of the fight. Literally the first 3 seconds. The chinless goat. Could you imagine if this guy had like a concrete chin? And it wasn't even like the UFC that's done it to him. Like, the guy was getting sparked before the UFC. He's never had a chin. At one point, he was near the top of the division, you know? That's crazy to me. Do you imagine a Johnny Walker champion? That would be nuts. Fraud check of doom. There's no way UFC fans believe this. There is no way UFC fans can believe this. Surely not. That's got Sting to the UFC. Nah, I'm sorry. The guy's 26 years old. I know losing to Johnny Walker isn't exactly what you want, if I'm being perfectly honest. It doesn't look good on your resume, if I'm being honest. It don't look good on the resume. What are these saying? Every loss is not being fraud checked. Dude, that's a shout. That's fair. I don't think this is a fraud check. I think he just had a bad night. There's a lot of pressure when you're fighting in front of a home crowd where they don't get a UFC card very often. I think they get like 1 a year, maybe 2 a year in China. So to be the main event in your home country, there's a lot of pressure on you. Look at Dustin Poirier, retirement fight in his hometown. Came up short. It happens. So being in the hometown, I think added pressure to a 26-year-old. Is similar to Lonnie Kavanagh, if I'm being perfectly honest. The guy's young. The guys are both young. They'll bounce back. I don't think we can call this a fraud check. Not at this point. Maybe if he loses another fight, then yeah, maybe. This is not a fraud check. There's no way people are believing this. Brian seems he simply doesn't want to be in the cage anymore. He looks miserable. The ref should have intervened and laid them both down, to be honest. Ortega has won 2 fights since 2018. Ortega needs to retire. How old is Brian Ortega now? I'll be back. So the dude's 34. I don't think he needs to retire. He showed glimpses. Very, very, very few glimpses in this fight. It's hard. It's actually a really hard one because I actually quite like Brian Ortega, but he has won 2 fights since 2018. That's brutal. It's been nearly 10 years. 7 years you won 2 fights and you're somehow in the top 5. Before this fight, top 5 in his division, won 2 fights since 2018. He looked like an unranked fighter today. And I don't believe a move up the 155. Everyone's saying he should move up and stay up at 155. And he probably will. He don't beat anyone at 155. He does not beat a soul at 155. A matchup with Charles Oliveira is interesting. Both good at jiu-jitsu, but he don't win. He doesn't even beat Mateus Gamrot. What does Brian Ortega do? I think he's at that point where he obviously doesn't want to be there. He visibly looked depressed in this fight and the build up to this fight. This ain't it. I'm just saying this guy winning is good for the UFC. I don't see why. I like his role as a gatekeeper. Don't hate that. Khalil had to go through him and got brutally KO'd. Hopefully Zhang comes back better. Our glorious kid, Zhang Mingyang, will be back. It's definitely not. Zhang Mingyang was Boldy's golden ticket to the Asian market. Now he's lost it. Do you know what? In the Asian market, Japan and China, the UFC's having a stinker. Because Kaya Sakura, let's go back to him for a sec, wasn't just brought in because Alexandre Pantoja had no one left to fight. Because he did. He had Kai Kara France before he obviously fought him recently. So there was an opportunity there, but they brought Kaya Sakura in to try and appeal to a Japanese market. They had people like Zhang Mingyang coming up through the rankings, again, that appeal to the Chinese market. And the Chinese market and the Asian market is huge. It is absolutely fucking massive. And having top contenders from China is huge. Unfortunately, Zhang Weili isn't enough on her own. Unfortunately, women's MMA does not bring in as many eyes as men's MMA. So yes, this will be a kick in the teeth for Dana. But again, like I said before, he's 26. He'll bounce back. And he will be a top contender. Mark my words. I'm sorry. Stroke me, master. Yeah, let's just back out of that. Friendship ended with DDP. Now Johnny Walker is my goof king. Johnny Walker was always the goof king. Let's not get this confused, right? Walker opens with the reverse takedown. I still can't believe this. 6 seconds into the fight, look. 6 seconds into round number 1. He shoots a takedown, ends up on his back. He didn't even land the takedown. I would put money on the fact that Johnny Walker was shooting for a heel hook submission win here. I will put money on that was the game plan. Get a heel hook submission because Volta Walker with 2 back-to-back or 3 back-to-back, I can't remember now. And then for Johnny Walker to go get one would have been cinema. But obviously it didn't. This happened. You're running away, Johnny? Smart. Yeah. Who won? How can you take the mix head or you was running away? Who got a hand raised? Via knockout. Shh. Stay humble, eh? The best chin in the game. Dude took so many bombs from Pavlovich. Yeah, not spoken about enough. The Pavlovich versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. It was a good match. It was a fantastic match. I actually had Spivak winning that fight, and this guy did take some huge shots from Sergey Spivak. And we know... Who? Pavlovich. We know he hits hard. We know he hits really hard, and he took some massive shots today, so fair play. Just how shit was this guy? That's harsh. Nah, it's not. He was pretty shit. The title run starts now. Hell yes. Upvote that. Get Johnny Walker the belt. Oh, could you imagine? Johnny Walker as a champion would be so unbelievably funny. Oh, pay to see it. But there's no way. Never in a million years does he beat Yuri Prochazka. Never in a million years does it. Alex Pereira could be 50 years of age. He still don't beat Alex Pereira. And he definitely doesn't beat Magomed Ankalaev. Obviously he didn't. Nearly did. Nearly beat. He so nearly beat Ankalaev. And when I say he nearly beat him, I mean he nearly landed that knee. And there's not a person on this earth that can convince me that if that flying knee landed, Ankalaev would have been standing after that. If that knee landed, it's lights out for anybody. Do not try and sit there and tell me that he would have eaten that. Do not try to tell me he would have been dropped and he would have got back up. No chance. Zhang did not get fraud checked. Thank you. I'm going to upvote that. Thank you. Just a little mishap. The mad lad did it. The guy's the GOAT. I'm just saying the guy's the GOAT. The guy is an absolute G. I love this man. I really hope he can stay in the top 10. He won't. Wow. Use my last $100. I don't believe that. I hope it's true. But the fact that you back Johnny Walker in this fight, you have got balls of steel. Fake glove touch, a failed takedown. I'm entertained. Yeah. One thing you can guarantee with Johnny Walker is that you are going to be entertained, whether he wins or loses. My boy's starting to get his confidence back. There is no way. There is no way this picture's real. If this picture is real, the heavyweight division is in trouble. If Pavlovich is training with Khabib's team, Tom Aspinall is in trouble. Just saying. I know he's knocked him out before. Just saying he's in trouble. I think this photo's fake. Examining hard. The shadow's there. The shadow is there. Thought we'd have a bigger pic. Yeah, don't look. Don't look fair. I mean, maybe. Hang on. I mean, this is 100%. That almost is too perfect. You know? That's almost too perfect. Like, that just fits in nicely. Almost like Usman's arm's been cut to allow. This photo can't be real, but I'm really put off by the shadows. Like, you've done a really good job if that's fake. Also, who took this photo and what do they take it with? He's not looking at the camera. He's not looking at the camera. Well, he's looking at a different camera. He's not looking at the camera. He's looking at this camera. Which also makes me believe that maybe this photo is fake. I don't know. Someone let me know if this is real, by the way. Please, someone let me know if this is real. I got no idea. Ladies and gentlemen, that's about going to do it for today's Reddit video, going through everything that's happened. Basically, well, we mainly spoke about UFC China, which was a banging card. I missed most of it. I went back, I rewatched bits and pieces here and there, and it looked like a fantastic card. Gutted I missed it, but I had more important things to go do. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. Now. Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks. I'm trying to get 500 subs as quick as I can. Be greatly appreciated. Leave a comment. Let me know what was your favourite night, favourite fight even of UFC China. Who are you looking forward to in the future? Ladies and gentlemen, I actually have my first vlog coming out in the next couple of days. Probably Monday, Tuesday. Monday. Yeah, bank holiday Monday. Yeah, we'll treat you to a vlog bank holiday Monday. We're dropping a little vlog, so make sure you sub to see that. It's a UFC related vlog. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Jordan Does UFC. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in a wee bit. Thanks.